saw this video the other day that was really good, talking about asking the questions: do you believe in good luck? Do you believe in good fortune? Do you believe in coincidence? And the answer, of course, is no, those things don't exist. It's all God's grace. God's grace. That's what I want to talk about. Because God's grace is the starting point. It's what brings all Christians together. It's what unites us. So, we talk about the difference between Catholics and Protestants, how Catholics believe in a faith and works salvation, and Protestants believe in a faith only salvation. The thing is, we each start from the same position. Catholics and Protestants both believe salvation is by God's grace through Jesus Christ. So that's the starting point for both. Catholics and Protestants agree it's grace from God first. First. But what happens next in that understanding is where we diverge. So I wanted to get the exact definition or the exact understanding of how the Protestants view this kind of salvation, because I'm Catholic. As much as I study them, I don't live that, so I don't know exactly. It's hard to put in words what you don't live. I can describe Catholicism perfectly because that's what I'm living. I've never been a Protestant. So as much as I read, that's not experience. Experience is different. So I asked AI to sum it up for me. It says what Protestants mean by faith alone, sola fide, justification happens once, at the moment a person places faith in Christ. This is the once saved, always saved understanding that most Protestants have. Next, God declares the sinner righteous purely because of Christ's merits, not because of anything the person does, which you hear all the time. All the Protestants make that point all the time. I've kind of mocked that in the past in other videos. Next, it says, works do not contribute to justification in any way. They are the fruit of genuine faith, not a condition. Baptism and sacraments may be important symbols or acts of obedience, but they do not convey saving grace, with exceptions like Lutherans and some Anglicans who see baptism as salvific, but still compatible with faith alone. So the Protestant concern is if works contribute to salvation, then salvation is no longer a free gift of grace. Okay. It's the once saved, always saved. So it's not a process, it's a moment. And this is going to be important because as we go on to read what the Catholics mean by faith and works is Catholics reject the idea that salvation can be earned, but they also reject the idea that faith alone is sufficient without cooperation. So that first part is what the Protestants always accuse the Catholics of. Catholics are saying, no. We reject that idea that salvation can be earned. You can't buy your way into heaven. You can't works your way into heaven. And that's often the caricature that Protestants will put on Catholics as that kind of idea, that you can earn your way. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. But to that extent, faith alone won't get you there either. The works do play a part, but they're not what saves you. Catholic teaching holds justification is both an event and a process, beginning at baptism and continuing through life. All right, so it's a journey. It's not this moment, this once saved, always saved. Salvation for Catholics is a journey where works are very much a part of that journey, through sacraments, through charity, through obedience, whatever. Next it says, works done in grace, charity, obedience, sacraments, like I just said, cooperate with God's action and allow a person to grow in righteousness. So you're refining yourself. The works aren't a fruit like in the Protestant idea. They are part of the process, part of the being, part of the crafting, the refining over the fire, the perfecting of you. The sacraments help to purify you, perfect you for God. And it kind of makes sense also that, from this point of view, the Catholics would believe in purgatory and Protestants would reject it, because it's the same idea of this purification. It really is a sticking point between the two religions. At least it shows that both sides are really sticking to their point, that it is across this whole picture, not just in one point or another, which would lead to clear hypocrisy. Then it goes on to quote James, faith without works is dead, meaning works are not optional but integral to a living faith. Of course they are. Of course. As a Catholic, to me, it's like, of course. That's my experience. Sacraments, of course. The Eucharist, that is the flesh and blood. As Jesus said, John 6:53, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. And then you go on to read John 6:66, fitting number. They turned on him. Many followers of Christ, this teaching was too hard for them, that this was the literal body and blood of Christ, which Catholics believe, Protestants reject. So here we are. Sacraments matter. Again, they don't save you. They refine you. They bring you closer to God. It's part of the journey. Not once saved, always saved. It's a process. It's a journey. I like what it says here about the Catholics. We are not saved by works, but we are not saved without them. It's a fine line, and it has to do with God's grace. We both have the same starting point. We're both Christian. We are only saved by the grace of God through Jesus Christ. That's it. And then from there, for the Protestants, it's a moment, once saved, always saved. For the Catholics, it's a process. And that's where the works come in. They're not the fruits of a moment, but rather a part of the process to help purify you and bring you closer to God.